Well, hello and thank you for joining me for another iTWire video with top Australian executives. Today I have rejoining us Dr. Brandon Gien. He is the CEO of Good Design Australia and joining us for the second year running. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, Alex. It's a pleasure to talk to you again.
Now, I suppose many readers would know Good Design Australia, but probably the best thing is just to remind us of the role the company plays in Australia and globally and what the Good Design Awards are all about.
Sure. So Good Design Australia is it's a design promotion organisation, and we operate the annual Good Design Awards here in Australia. It's proudly one of the oldest and I'd say most prestigious design awards in the world, with our roots going all the way back to 1958. So over that course of time, almost 60 years now, we've
very
really
close.
been recognising some of the best innovations coming out of Australia and also internationally as well. So
Yeah.
For me, it's I've been in the role almost 20 years and seen some incredible innovations that come onto the Australian market.
And just having a look at the Good Design Awards guidebook or yearbook, which is online. I mean, I was just watching it with some people. We spent a couple of hours just marveling at the incredible breadth and depth of technology that you look at, and that even includes things like giant boat engines and websites. I mean, it's just incredible. Just the how many things that are under your remit.
Well, I think that's the nature of design. It is incredibly broad. I mean, everything around us in some way, shape or form has been designed. It's not only the physical objects and the spaces and the buildings that we inhabit, but also now the experiences in the service sector. Design is being used very, very broadly. So everything from digital design to architectural design to communications design. We've now even branched into business model design. I think this is an incredibly fascinating area where we're looking at how businesses are using design, the same process that you would apply to designing a mobile phone or a kettle or a toaster, applying that same process to the actual design of their business model, which is incredibly interesting. And then an area that I'm very, very passionate about is social innovation. How is design actually being used in this sort of societal sense to create a better society and solve some pretty hairy issues out there? And again, applying the same design process. So it is very broad. We get an incredible range of projects that are entered into the awards, and it makes it very challenging but also very interesting.
And design is something that's sort of intrinsic to human consciousness and life. It's like knowing the difference between good and bad. You know a good design when you see it. We know a dodgy, cheap design when we see it. And it's something when sometimes you see a good design, you think, wow, how come no one's ever thought of that before? It's so simple and elegant and easy, and we celebrate that in so many of the different products that are out there now.
Well, I think unfortunately we only notice design when it's bad. I think that's the challenge. We don't necessarily notice design when it's good. That's how we know design's doing its job, is when it is good, it's almost invisible.
Well, they say, sorry to interrupt, but they say that technology's worked when it's become an invisible part of your life. You just don't know it's there because it's so natural to you.
Exactly, and I use the analogy of turning on a light switch.
Yeah.
You don't really want to know how the electricity gets to your room, but as long as the light turns on, and that's a beautiful example of the simplicity that goes into many things when they are well designed. You just want to push a button and know that it works and it does the job that it's meant to do.
Now, when we spoke last year, you were just it was a very similar time to this year, just before the entry period for the this year's awards closes. We'll talk about it in a moment. But clearly, the bar's getting raised each year in design, leading to what I would imagine would be just an incredible crop of things to come this year that your judges will be soon marveling over.
Yeah, look, we've had.
You must have already had some entries already.
We have. They're all trickling in, and as usual, the last week, the last 2 weeks, there's a mad rush for everyone to get their entries in. But some of the ones that have trickled through are absolutely fascinating. And the question I'm always asked is, what are the trends? Do you notice any particular trends? And I think over the years, I've definitely seen products that certainly the ones that are successful and floating to the sort of top of the awards are those that are solving a very real problem and doing it in a very elegant way. And that problem could be anything from just making your life a little bit easier, or actually solving a big challenge from an environmental perspective or from a business perspective. And those products that are successful are the ones that do that really well. And I think our judges really look for that and say, look, it's not just another chair, it's not just another toaster, but they've actually solved a problem here. They've used less material, they've packaged the product in a completely different way. They've used an innovation from one area of technology and applied it in a very, very clever
completely unexpected way that is somehow revolutionary.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. We've had, as you know, in Australia, we've got a lot of shark attacks that happen. So now there's been a plethora of products coming into that space, shark shields and shark detection devices and everything, and that is a real problem, right?
Yeah, it's not just Batman who had his little shark spray from the Adam West show.
And again, seeing those sorts of products now entering the market again, you know, that there's a commercial reason why these products are being proposed, but they're also they are solving a real human need.
So let's get on to the awards then. So when is the deadline for this year's awards closing, and what is the website for those people who want to have a look?
Sure. So the entries close on the 15th of April, which is next Friday, coming across very, very soon.
So if you haven't started your design, you better hurry.
All people need to do is really go to our website, gooddesign.com.
Is there a hyphen there?
There is, good-design.com or gooddesignaustralia.com, and all the information's there. They just, if they've got the project and they've got some photos and imagery, they just need to fill out an online application form, and we'll take care of the rest.
Sure. And if they're not ready for this year, they're geared up for next year.
Yeah, and it's usually how it works. I mean, the product life cycle, the sort of product development life cycle takes quite a while. Sometimes. So whatever isn't entered this year, if it's not ready, is usually carried across.
Absolutely.
Next year.
And can we talk briefly again about the judging process for the judges and what it involves, and what are some of the challenges besides what must be just a huge number of amazing things to go through?
Look, the judging is very complex because we do get such a broad range of stuff being entered across so many different sectors and different design disciplines.
I mean, it's a multi-day judging process, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, because you can't just do all that in one day.
And we get a very high calibre of international and Australian judges who participate in the program, and they really have a pretty thorough process that they go through in terms of looking at the criteria and applying that criteria to the various projects that come through. But again, to simplify it, it really is. I think the challenge that judges have is to put themselves in the user's shoes. So if it's a domestic product that's used in the household, how do they actually try and role play that and try and almost be the consumer, be the user? If it's a complex business model that's being entered, they have to sort of look at it from the CEO's perspective. If it's a medical product, they have to look at it from a medical practitioner's perspective and perhaps from the patient's perspective.
Yeah, so the judges, it's an incredible challenge for the judges, but one that they obviously relish and probably look forward to every year.
Look, I think for me it's probably one of the most interesting processes to be involved in, because you've got some of the world's best experts sitting around a table debating what is good design and what isn't, and really trying to understand what went into a particular product, what went into a particular project to make it as good as it possibly can be. And I think that discussion, that forum that the judges are involved in is incredibly fascinating, because it's a heated debate. They really thrash it out, take the job very, very seriously, and I think at the end of the day, we look at some of the winners that have come through in previous years. They pretty much get it right every year. So.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a new category before business process, but are there any other new categories this year?
We do. We have a very exciting, completely standalone award program that we developed for design entrepreneurs.
And that's new, is it, for 2016?
It's brand new for 2016. It's the Design Entrepreneur Awards Design Entrepreneur Awards, and that's aimed specifically at people with a brilliant idea. And we've noticed a big gap in the market where people generally come up with fantastic ideas, but they're not quite sure where to go with that idea or what to do with it.
They need like a mentor or something too.
More than a mentor, really showing them, I guess, giving them the ability to say, right, coming up with the idea is really the first step in that commercialisation process. We want people to enter their fantastic ideas. We're not after an in-depth business plan. It's really all about the idea. We'll put those through the same assessment process that we have within our own awards program and select half a dozen of the best ones and invite those people to actually come forward and pitch their ideas to a group of investors, venture capital professionals, designers, and then we'll select the overall winner. the winner shares a $25,000 prize in helping them actually develop that idea and commercialise it and get it into the market and hopefully make some money.
Yeah, it's sort of like a Good Design Australia cross between an Indiegogo, Kickstarter, and a Shark Tank, Apprentice sort of thing. Where
it's all that.
It's all that mixed together, but in a better way.
Yeah. And look, we have a young design award program that we've been running for many years as well, and we've noticed some fantastic concepts that come through that. But
so the time was right for this sort of
gap in the middle there. That we really noticed a lot of people with fantastic ideas.
Well, I look forward to talking to you later in the year just about the results from that.
Yeah.
Not even, let alone the Good Design Awards and what all that entails. So, did any of last year's winners go on to become mega global blockbusters in terms of sales? I'm sure they were all successful, but were there anything from last year that was like just truly off the charts, or even previous years?
Look, I think the obvious standout last year was our Design Award of the Year. The top winner last year went to the Tesla Model S. Now,
their Model 3 sales before it was even unveiled were off the charts.
Yeah, I think it's up to about 300,000 now. There's 300,000
orders. Yeah, something crazy. Yeah.
Anyone who's a fan of Tesla will know. This company has just
it's magical,
raised the bar through the roof.
Yeah.
And I think it's in my opinion a brilliant example of a company that gets design. It's not just all about technology. The car is spectacular from a technology point of view, but from a design point of view, it is absolutely brilliant. And I think that's why it's successful, because people get in the car and go, they are surprised from the minute they actually walk up to the car and say it's beautifully designed from the outside. From the inside, it does everything that it's meant to do. And it's just a complete game changer.
It's like you didn't just step into the future; you stepped into 2100. But it's only 2016. It's really that.
So I think that to me is an example of I'm hoping to see many more fantastic things come out of Tesla. We're talking to them at the moment about potentially entering the Tesla Powerwall, which is another big product.
Yes, absolutely.
And hopefully when the Model 3 finally hits Australia, and the Model X, which is another great car. So that to me is a company that are just killing it, doing really well, and will continue to do so because they have that eye on design, which I think they're
the fire in the belly. They want the passion to make their dreams come to reality.
Absolutely.
Well, that was the perfect answer to that question, because that's a company that really has gone off the charts. Now, you mentioned some design trends that you had seen, but I'll just sort of ask it again. What are the 2016 design trends you've seen thus far that have caught your eye, and how have they differed to what was hot in 2015 and 2014 and before?
Look, I think this is not necessarily a trend, I would say. I think it's probably an area of design, I think, that is becoming more and more prominent, and it comes back to that whole notion of solving a problem. We're seeing less and less junk being entered. Well, unless it's just Me Too products, as they call them.
Those are the things you see at the markets from China that are poor copies of things. But that's not the market.
It's certainly not the space we want to use to elevate great design.
Yeah.
And in our opinion, great design is all about solving real problems. And I think that the fact that consumers are exposed to just so much out there in the market, it's a consumer's playground.
Yeah.
And for us to be able to say that great design is yes, a beautifully designed product, but it's actually solving other problems as well.
Well, so that's more or less the answer to my next question, which, and if you've answered it, we'll move on. But, what are the classic design principles that are most beloved in a nutshell? The traditional stereotype is like clean, simple, and minimalist. Apple's famous, 1,000 no's for every yes. But it's also what you were just saying, things that solve real problems for people, as well as looking good.
I think so, and I think when it comes down to that detailed design, the quote that I love the most is, great design is as little design as possible.
Yeah.
And I think you can interpret
more is
that
less.
In so many different ways. It's just trying to come up with an elegant, beautiful, sophisticated solution that you can almost say, wow, they struggled in the simplicity of this, and that to me is I'm hoping what we'll see more and more of.
Now, I'm not sure if you've already answered this question, but I'll ask it anyway. What was the most interesting and intriguing design for you personally over the last 12 months since we last spoke? Not necessarily from the awards, just from anything around the world where you've been and seen, something that really caught your eye. Like, wow.
Look, I would probably go back to Tesla and say the Powerwall.
Yeah, Powerwall. That's exciting because we've had 100 years of electricity companies not doing anything. In Germany, they have all these power, the solar panels on their roofs, and apparently over there they can power up an entire neighborhood if the grid goes down. But you need battery walls to do that, and we don't have them. And this is something. It's an idea whose time has come.
Absolutely, and I think for me, it's about those products that are game changers, and you use that word quite lightly. And again, solving a problem. It's not only reducing our energy costs and our energy bills, but it's actually solving a much bigger problem, which is reducing our reliance on fossil fuels.
Yeah.
And I think that is, it's done in a very elegant, beautiful way. It's not just a bunch of wires and technology that have been slapped in a box.
It's not a bunch of lead-acid batteries sticking on the wall. It's properly designed.
They've come up with a very unique, holistic way of saying, right, here's a way in which we can offer you a product that is going to reduce your take on the energy grid. And hopefully, I think, wouldn't it be fantastic if you have every single household in Australia that is removed from the energy grid?
Yeah.
Not so good for the electricity companies, but imagine the impact that would have on our environment.
Oh, undeniable.
And we can all, we've got the world's most infinite source of energy right up there called the sun.
And instead of our Tesla and other electric cars, simply, instead of putting petrol into them, we're simply moving the pollution generation to the power factories, to the coal power factories, where you have a lot of smog coming out from there. I mean, you're getting the power from the sun, from your power wall. I mean, there's a lot of energy that's generated during the day, stored in the wall, moved into your car, used in the house. I mean, you still have the grid there because the grid won't go away for some time. So you have the two working together, and I mean, this is the near future for us all.
And like you said, it's stepping into 2100.
Yeah.
I think we have to almost, and that to me is the thing that I'm most passionate about what designers do, is that they have the ability to imagine what a better world actually looks like, and then design our way in slowly but surely steps to get there. And I think that is, in my opinion at least, what Tesla's able to have done. They've said, look, we need to imagine what the world's going to look like in 50 years' time, and 100 years' time, and 200 years' time, and it's going to be filled with incredibly challenging, problems. What are we going to do to design solutions to address those problems? And of course, they're a company, they need to make money along the way.
Yeah.
So I think it's a wonderful story. I wish them well.
I was talking to a company that was talking about having internal hackathons, and not only with their engineers, but even with their PR people, where they said, look, you guys design a press release for the product you wish you could be promoting, and then we'll see if we can create that product based on what you have imagined we should be able to do. And that's kind of a similar sort of concept. And it's sort of imagining the future and then making it real, turning science fiction into science fact, which is a well-worn phrase, but I always love saying it because it's so cool. Now, one of the other questions I had for you was if there was anything that you wish was designed but hasn't been tackled by anyone else yet that you think will be absolutely amazing if only somebody would design it, what would that be? I'm putting you on the spot. The thing that hasn't been designed yet that you've dreamed about. Maybe you don't want to say.
Look, I think they have actually been designed. I think they probably just haven't reached the step of being fully commercial yet. And that's,
I mean, they always say that. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt because it's rude, but they always say that it's relevant. But the future has already been invented. Yeah. It just hasn't been widely distributed yet. We probably said this in last year's interview, and what you're about to say is an exact example of that. I don't even know what it is, but now I'm all ears. Tell me.
Well, it's basically a completely modular house that you can build from the ground up, and if you're asking me whether this would be my dream design, basically a kit home that you can just plonk in, and it's completely off the grid. They have many of them, many different variants of them, but imagine what that would do to our building sector, imagine what it would do to our environment, our energy sector, to be completely removed from the grid. And that's not just energy, that's water,
recycling,
gas, the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, we have the technology, as they say in that 1970s show. We have the technology, but we just haven't put it all together properly for mass production, right?
And I think that, to me, to imagine that is again a very optimistic way of looking at our future and saying it's not all about doom and gloom. There are solutions to the challenges on our planet, and design, technology, innovation, ingenuity are the things that are going to get us there. Have
you personally designed things yourself?
I've probably been in this space for the last 20 odd years, and so I've used design every single day of my life, whether it be just looking at how I can solve a problem and then conceptualizing that, and it doesn't matter if it's a physical chair or a product. It's just, I can't imagine life without it, without looking through these glasses and seeing them as design challenges.
So when is this year's Gala award ceremony and judging process, and where is it happening this year? I mean, last year, tell us what happened last year and tell us what's happening this year.
So last year we had it again in line with Vivid, an amazing celebration at the Pavilion down in Darling Harbour, right in the middle of Vivid. But this year we've lifted the game once again. So the awards night is on the 27th of May. It's actually the opening night of Vivid.
Wow.
So it's the night that the lights get turned on in the city and those famous projections
what a
of the
backdrop.
sails of the Opera House. So,
and you'll be at the OPT, so you Overseas Passion Terminal, and the Opera House will be right there.
We've got the best piece of real estate in Sydney to celebrate the awards, and we're opening up the Good Design selection. So these are all the products and projects that have come through the awards to the general public on the Saturday and the Sunday.
Right, and
at the OPTs, it's free for people to come and see these amazing projects.
So it's like a glimpse into the future, and many of these things will be on sale soon or already are on sale.
Absolutely, yeah. So for consumers, mums and dads wanting to come and see what the best, latest and greatest products are, they can freely come along and wander through the exhibition. And
you don't have to book; you just turn up, and there probably will be lines there for people wanting to come in.
We've been told there's
you'll need security.
A lot of people, but
now,
that's good.
The Good Design Awards yearbook each year, that must get tremendous traffic on the website. And so it's just gooddesignaustralia.com. Where do people go to see that?
Gooddesignaustralia.com will get there, and there's a link there that'll take you to our publications.
And then it's just an online book, and you use the mouse to click, and you can look at it on your phone or tablet and zoom in. And I mean, it's like 100 pages of just magic.
Absolutely.
And do you have any young messages for young people watching that are thinking of studying design or who are young design students?
Look, there are, and we're in contact with pretty much every single major university across Australia.
I mean, you mentioned the Young Design Awards and these other awards, so you're already doing all that.
Yeah, and I do. I go around to universities and give lectures, and it's the one thing that I'm always asked, like, what advice do you have to give students? And I think that design has changed so much over the last, at least in my time, the last 20 odd years, where design graduates have really had this notion of coming into industry and thinking that they're going to be designing physical, tangible, manufactured things. That will still exist.
It's one element of design.
But I think there's such a massive opportunity now as design gets into the service sector, the business sector, corporate world as well, and looking at even bigger than that, how design can be used to solve some of the biggest problems in our world. So I think the advice that I would have to the younger generation and younger designers is think big. I think really big. It's great to want to go and design appliances or go and design motor cars, but design the ecosystems that those products operate in. Think about that macro view of design, and zoom right out and look at the world and go, wow, I wonder how I could redesign a better world. And think as big as you possibly can, because that to me is what the future is going to be about.
As I say, there's no limit. Tell us the story of the Good Design Awards logo just behind you.
This is a beautiful little artistic interpretation of our logo that was designed and made for us by a university student from the University of New South Wales, I think, and she's kindly given it to us. So
it's a beautiful piece. It's so intricately designed.
It just showcases the ticks within our logo, which is all about good design. So we love it. It's a nice little piece of art. It's
here in the boardroom, and we put it specially down here so we could capture it right next to you. It is beautiful. And so do you have any final messages for iTWire viewers and readers, and for current, future entrants, for anybody?
Look, I think, there's the old saying, you've got to be in it to win it. And we've been running a campaign here for the last couple of months.
Well, nearly 60 years, right?
Particularly focused on this year about good design, prove it. Prove it to us that you're doing something that's worthy of design recognition. So if you've got stuff out there that you're busy working on, and whether it be something as small as a little widget, or something as big as a high-rise building, or everything in between,
or a smart city, anything,
tell us about it. Enter the awards. It's a pretty straightforward process. What our job is to really tell that story to the rest of the world, and we're very passionate about it. And it's a collection of all the amazing innovations that we get that help us push this whole narrative forward about why design is actually so important to our planet.
Well, Dr. Brandon Gien, I'm a big fan. I really wish you great success with the awards. I hope you get some incredible entries this year. I look forward to coming during the design process and stealing a few moments of time from yourself and the judges, just to get a few words about what it's like being in the midst of the process, to share with the viewers, and being at the award ceremony. I can't wait to see who the winners are this year.
You have to wear a black tie, though.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm very happy to do that. Thank you very much.
All right, cheers, Alex.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.